Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to another episode of the Exotical Storytime series. If you have any stories that you want to tell that are relevant to the talking points that I talk about on this channel, be sure to email me at exoticalsunited@gmail.com. So let's go ahead and get into this story. She says, "Hi EU. First of all, I love your channel. I'll be joining the Patreon soon." Yes, be sure to join the Patreon, guys. A lot of you guys are really enjoying it. I do custom content in there, and there's also Discord access. That is where we give all of the tea. So join the Patreon. Sorry if this gets a bit long, but I did want to show how layered the jealousy from these unambiguous pick-me's can be. I figured you could use any of these situations to reiterate your talking points. I can't remember all the instances, but this epiphany came after 4 or 5 years of buildup. I had a dark-skinned associate who, in retrospect, I realized was competing with me. She always had weirdo energy, which kept the interactions surface level, but not toward me directly most times. I realized she had a complex when we were listening to the song where Lil Wayne says, "Beautiful black woman, I bet that bee look better red." And she looked at me with the most hateful look and said, "Not," as if I said the shit. Like, huh? How are you upset with me because a man who I will never meet and or want prefers red bones? And she would always try to throw in snide jokes about me being some other ethnicity. Initially, as a monoracial, it would bother me. But back to your point of fluid identity, it doesn't offend me anymore because I've spent time in several other countries being easily accepted and unbothered because the locals assume I'm one of them or I have a parent who is from wherever I'm visiting. I don't talk about skin tone or egg on the imaginary skin tone war, but we couldn't do anything without her mentioning skin tone. Yes! So I have friends like this too. Like the main friends of mine who have mentioned skin tone randomly have been unambiguous monoracial black women. Like, I'm not kidding. One time I had an unambiguous friend. She said that this guy was acting light-skinned because he didn't say hi to her. So oftentimes it's the people who they have a complex about skin tone or like they have some sort of stereotypes about skin tone. And notice how they mentioned somebody else's. So she said he was acting light-skinned and she was not light-skinned. She was darker skinned, unambiguous. And so it's like, why do they always have to mention somebody else's skin tone or like say something negative about a lighter person? But if you as a lighter person were to randomly say something negative, like why are you acting dark-skinned, then people would call you a colorist. But anyway, let's continue. She said, one time she said something about the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, trying to be a smartass, but I'm quick-witted, so I hit her ass with, "Sure, but the lighter the grape, the finer the wine." And she was pissed because, well, it's true, and everyone was laughing. But those were just minor situations that kind of led up to me recognizing the weirdo shit. She would also scrutinize my body. At some point, I started to ask, was she gay? Because it was excessive. And women have been attracted to me, so I recognize when it's not just jealousy. Not to gas myself, but I am fully aware I have many things people are willing to pay for. Long, thick hair, nice teeth, plump lips, clear golden skin, Brazilian butt, nice natural nails, etc. And people notice this and usually start to look for anything to critique. Yes, that's one of the pretty girl problems that we talk about on this channel all the time. Oftentimes when somebody is jealous of your beauty and they are jealous of your social status or they feel like you are higher up on some sort of social hierarchy than them, they will try to find the teeniest, tiniest flaw or even a non-existent flaw. They will make it into a flaw, like calling you a ramen noodle head ass bitch if you have curly hair, which I have audio clips of black women empowerment content creators doing on YouTube. But yes, they will try to look for anything to critique because they don't want you to feel good about yourself. They don't want you to have control over your own self-perception, and they don't want you to be more confident than them. Again, they can't call me ugly or stupid, so they tend to scrutinize my body shape. Granted, I don't give an F how a man views me, but I have rarely had actual men complain about my shape, but insecure women/niggers always try to sneak that in. I could lose a few pounds or say that I'm built like a boy. I have an athletic build, big thighs, big butt, broad shoulders, proportional waist, but I wear it very well, and I get called thick or juicy a lot. In fact, men usually intro by asking if I ever ran track or played softball. But this friend, like other jealous people, would scrutinize my body to chop me down as if Coke bottle shape is the only desirable one. Oh, girl, I literally have an hourglass/Coke bottle shape, and people still scrutinize my body. So it's funny, like I said, they will try to find anything about you that is a flaw. And if they can't find one, then they will make up a flaw. So it's like, no matter what your body type is, they're going to make fun of it. No matter how long or short your hair is, they're going to make fun of it. No matter what your skin tone is, jealous people are going to make fun of it because they're just trying to find a way to humble you. Like with me, people would make fun of my hips or my thighs, or like say I have craters and shit, and like, or they would try to like make fun of me saying that I look slutty if I ever showed cleavage or anything like that. So yeah, let's continue. She says, here is when I realized her complexes could get dangerous. We were at a frat party and I was twerking, having fun. Next thing I know, this frat dude walks up to me dancing and thrusts me onto the floor. I am a germo, so I'm dying inside. This man proceeds to try to eat me out on the floor in front of a large group of people. Maybe blank that out. I am literally begging this bitch to help me up, actively grasping for her hand like Mufasa on the edge, trying not to be S.A'd, while the other hand is trying to keep this scoundrel from giving me BV or worse on this disgusting, moist club floor. Whole time this hoe is staring at me like this. And unfortunately, this was one of multiple times someone has picked me out of a crowd at a party and proceeded to do something of the sort. The next time, she didn't tell me we'd be severely outnumbered by men. And she didn't help then either. Just stood there with that I didn't get chosen face. I was super shocked when she wouldn't even try to give me her hand, because what the F, I'm asking for help. I decided to stop going out with her after that because I felt she might set me up or put me in a compromising situation. She'd already shown me how she felt, but this next thing really showed her pick-me hatred. I had several instances with a very popular guy on campus where he would sexually harass me. Literally from the day I met him, looking back, he was very demonic. But she was a groupie for any decent-looking male. I'm pretty, but I was never popular and preferred to be low-key, so I tried to explain to her some of the instances where he harassed me. One specifically where he was visiting my pick-me roommate, and he walked into my room while I was moving my bed and I didn't notice until I turned around. And I swear, if everyone else had left the apartment, he would have assaulted me. I had never seen someone look at me that way. That wasn't even the creepiest instance. When I told her, her response was, he can get anyone he wants. Why would he need to harass you? And I'm like, what? First of all, she can see the sex appeal just like he can, but that was her way of saying there are prettier, thinner, more ambiguous girls on campus, as if how they look makes me less attractive or some shit. Yes, I've noticed that whenever you're pretty, people always try to compare you to someone who they think is prettier than you or someone who they're going to try to use to humble you. Have you ever noticed how people who are haters, they can't humble you with themselves? Like, they can't flex on you, so they will try to use another girl who looks like you to flex on you. They'll try to use someone more famous than you to flex on you, or someone more skinny or whatever, as a way of humbling you. And that actually doesn't work, because if anything, you're just admitting that you think I'm the shit if you are comparing me to people who are very beautiful. So no matter what you think, like even if you think that Beyonce or whoever else is prettier than me, it's like the fact that I'm still even comparable to someone who spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on their appearance, or someone who spends tens of thousands of hours per year working out in the gym, the fact that my body is even comparable to that, that's still a compliment. So nice try. But anyway, let's continue. She said, like, girl, you're so upset that a guy you find attractive views me as a slab of meat he wants to hump that you can't empathize with your friend? The cognitive dissonance is real. On one hand, she's giving me the evil eye while physically witnessing me receive unwanted sexual attention, but on the other hand, she wants to convince me I am unworthy of receiving unwanted sexual attention from a man because she likes him and he has options. They'll sell themselves any narrative in the moment to try to deny that you're desirable. Yep, they want black male attention so bad, they'll dismiss assault. She was always one of those girls that if you told her you had a crush on someone, she'd come back later like, ooh, guess whose number I got, as if she was trying to prove she could compete, knowing once they talked to her, I'm on to the next. Later, when I told her my boyfriend at the time was white with blonde hair and blue eyes, not my usual type, she looked at me like I called her ugly or told her she can't compete with me because I dated other races of men, as if it validated and made my attractiveness undeniable. Yes, I've noticed that. That's why I say most people want to date us or create us, because I feel like some people, if they are kind of like jealous of mixed race people or jealous of the mixed race phenotype or like a certain look or whatever, they sometimes have the mindset of, if I can't be you, at least I can date someone like you. Or if I can't date someone like you, at least I can create children who look like you. I have noticed that that seems to be the subconscious programming of a lot of people who have an ignorant mindset in the unambiguous African American community, because I've heard them make comments like, oh, we're going to have such pretty babies, or like they're going to look so pretty and they're going to have good hair and they're going to have pretty eyes, or they're going to have his skin tone. And they're saying it as if they achieved something and like they social climbed and have a symbol of success by birthing children who look like you. And so, yes, I feel like some people, they will try to date other races of people as a way of subconsciously proving their desirability. Or in your case, it's like what I said, where they have a mindset of, well, I can attract somebody who's white too. Like, you think you're better than me because you're part white. Well, my boyfriend's white, so haha, like we're on the same level. You're not better than me. And it's like, I always thought that was so weird, because we can't help how we were born. Like, if you were born with mixture in your blood, like, you can't help that. But as far as who people date, I think it's kind of weird to specifically date someone of another race so you can try to prove to your rivals that you can attract someone of that race. That's kind of weird. And it's giving fetishization. It's giving, I'm using you to prove my desirability. But then again, that's the world we live in, because people do that to us all the time. But let's continue. She says, as if it validated and made my attractiveness undeniable. It was so weird. She mentioned having pretty babies. Yep. She mentioned having pretty babies, like she was already jealous of the children I'd potentially reproduce with him. Crazy. Anyway, thanks for what you're doing. Yes, I'm not surprised by this story at all. Her friend witnessing her getting S.A'd and not even wanting to help her when she was on the floor, like reaching out her hand basically, or when she was like looking for someone to emotionally support her. I'm not surprised by that, because I've noticed that if you are deeply jealous of someone, it's very difficult for you to have empathy for someone that you're jealous of. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.